Another year has ended and another year is beginning. And usually around this time of year, people like to make resolutions. They want to course correct some part of their lives. Maybe they want to improve on some factor in their lives. And they'll make plans and promises in order to make those things happen, at least hopefully. But I think this year's going to be a little different because I think a lot of people, instead of planning for the future, they're going to look backwards and they're going to hope that things get more in line with the way things used to be, as opposed to trying to find ways to make things better. So I would like to consider the future today as we consider communion, as opposed to looking back. If you want, you can read with me. This is in Revelation 21. It says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people. And God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more. And the former things have passed away." Two things I'd like you to focus on there are, I am making all things new, and the former things have passed away. When we try to start a new year, we'll make plans and try to think of what the best possible outcome would be, and then we try to make that outcome happen. Now, God isn't like that, because God actually knows the outcome. He has perfect foreknowledge. So when God says, this is what's going to happen, when he makes a plan and says that through this plan, these things will happen, we can rest assured that we know that those things will happen. We might not know exactly when, we might not know exactly where, but if God says it will happen, then we can trust that it will happen. And so when he says the former things have passed away, we know that that is coming. And when he says, I am making all things new, we know that he is causing that to happen right now. And when we take communion, we're remembering the key moment that brought those two things about, the death of our Savior on the cross. So when you take communion today, and you remember what Jesus did on the cross, also remember that future promise and the assurance that we have in that. When we make a plan, there's maybe a 50-50 chance at best that it will come about, because there's so many things that we have no control over. But when God says, I am making all things new, and the former things will pass away, we can trust that it will happen. And it's all happening because of what his Son did on the cross. Remember that today as you take communion.